Do you think Hollywood studios will ever combine IP?
Oh, I love that question. I think they should. I think there is a golden opportunity right now to go and make movies with the most famous popular characters in the entire world and combine them all. If you combine Star Wars with Star Trek and they went to war against Superman, or like you can do so much that the world has never seen with beloved characters. If you took DC and Marvel and you combine them to fight God, like what would that look like? You took Fast and the Furious and you had them go into this world where these characters are now having to team up with the Avengers for some reason. Like, that is a golden opportunity that I think Hollywood needs to jump on. AI is coming. And soon AI, whether it's 20 years, will be able to be like, hey, I want to see Superman drive a Mazda RX-7 around a drift track trying to save the world from 1,000 goblins, right? And then it'll populate and show you that. I think Hollywood has a golden opportunity right now to where the studios can get together and be like, guys, listen, we're going to make a movie where Jason Voorhees has to team up with Goku to stop somebody from, killing Michael Myers. Like, you can come up with these crazy scenarios and create movies that the world has never seen.
We had a few scenarios here for you. You mentioned Fast and Furious. What if you put Fast and the Furious into Transformers?
Oh, that would be incredible. Could you imagine? Dom is over there, he's pulling up in his Charger, boom, and then Optimus Prime goes, choo, 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 and then they're like trying to take, like, that story alone as the kid in me is like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. That's a golden opportunity right there. So I think Hollywood should really consider that if the audience comes first, and then the money comes first, which is merchandising. How much money can a studio make by combining IPs? If you have Dom or Vin Diesel on the back of Optimus Prime and they're going through, like, you're telling me that can't sell another 10 million units of toys? I think it can. Because people are going to eat it up. Why? Because they've never seen it. Because throughout the history of Hollywood, outside of like Jason vs. Freddy, for those rare occasions, they never combine IPs. What if you had the Ninja Turtles versus Predators? What would that look like? I don't know, but I would love to watch it.
We have Alien versus Predator, Freddy versus Jason, and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Look at how that turned out. Over $1 billion.
What if John Wick had to fight a Terminator?
Could you imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger chasing after John Wick and he's just lighting him up? That would be incredible. For the whole movie, John Wick is going after the Terminator. Now the Terminator's on the run because John Wick is now after him and he's running out of battery. The possibilities of the storytelling are endless. And you're telling me that audiences in droves are not going to show up to see Keanu Reeves as John Wick going after maybe not Arnold now, but someone playing Arnold as the T2, like going through time. Like, I'm visualizing it right now and I'm like, that would be incredible. So yes, absolutely.
Do you think combining IP or even talents could ever happen on the indie level?
Now that becomes very challenging because if a company acquires an IP for X amount of dollars, unless you're able to raise that money, why would they give you the IP to make a project to potentially profit off of when they acquire that to do the exact same thing? I think that would be very challenging for indie filmmakers in the indie space. Now, I know that currently people are making movies with like Winnie the Pooh and all that stuff because it's in public domain. But outside of that, I don't see how, if I created Dragon Ball and I have that property and I have those rights for North America. And John comes to me and says, hey, I want to make this movie. Yeah, no, I just spent $30 million to acquire the rights. I'm making the movie. It's a natural thing of human beings to be like, hey, I paid for it, I own it. It's just natural. I don't see it happening. Not to say that it can't, but I think it's very difficult.
What if you try that with some of your IP?
So you're saying like if someone, another indie filmmaker was like, hey, I want to make your stuff.
Or you even just combined storylines, or it's sort of like, I don't want to say Crash because that's a drama, but if you took some of the people in Pizza Boy Rick
Sure.
and then put them in some of your newer movies and had those worlds
Yes,
meet.
yes, that would be actually, yes, okay. So then at that point, you need enough IP to combine the worlds, and then you need the track record and the audience to be behind those characters so that when you combine them, it not only makes sense, but you're getting the dual audience. I think if I went right now and I did Speed Faster with Pizza Boy Rick and I combined them, without enough of an audience behind them, it's just like, well, why is this guy playing this other character? It doesn't make any sense. But if Pizza Boy Rick got 50 million views and became this big movie, and then Speed Faster was this big release and all the actors are known and these characters are known, then when you combine them, it's like, oh, okay, he's going against Ace. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, I see what they're doing. Then you have the opportunity to do that, but it also has to make sense within the storyline.
Okay. What if, let's say, Pizza Boy Rick wanted to collaborate, that cast and that world would collaborate from some, the puffy chair with the Duplass brothers.
Sure.
So how would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. That is as simple as like, hey, are you down to do this? Because I think it'd be awesome. And if you, the filmmaker, are like, yeah, I'm down to do this, let's do it. Then at that point, it's like, hey, let's just create the story and do it. There doesn't have to be complex. Let's create the best thing that we can deliver to the audience to allow them for those 90 minutes to enjoy whatever that is. Whether they're feeling happy or sad or afraid or whatever it is, the whole magic of movies is to teleport the audience member to another world. Whether they're invested in the main character or a side character, it doesn't matter. You let them escape reality for those 90 minutes. And I think if you can do that, that's a win. So if there's another indie filmmaker that has a story that, meshes well with this, and it would be incredible if they came together, yeah, I'm all for that. I think that would be amazing.
It's been 2 years, I believe, since we last saw you.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the projects that you've been involved in, what's changed in your mindset, in your approach to creativity or your approach to living life? It doesn't have to necessarily be about film.
Sure.
What's changed?
So I'll give you two answers. When it comes to the creativity, it's bigger and better. It's one or the other. It's how can I get more value on the screen and how can I make it look and sound better? So it's pushing the envelope as a filmmaker that I want the next movie to look and feel better than the previous movie every single time. As a human being, there's two things that I've actually been not battling with, but going back and forth in my thought process right now as we're speaking in life. One of them is, okay, when it comes to decisions is, okay, when you're 80, I know I've said it a few times, but how are you going to view this decision you're about to make? Do you think you're going to be happy about it or sad about it? If you're happy about it, you go with it. If you're sad about it, you don't do it. The second thing is, I've come to think about life as we're here to experience things. So if every day you go through life and you're like, it's a struggle, then you're experiencing struggle. But if you're like, hey, I want to experience driving a manual car. I want to experience going to Italy. I want to experience being in love. Then you have to open yourself up to the experience and you have to just do it. It doesn't matter if you have the resources right now. That's not to say go $100,000 in debt and do something irresponsible. But that is to say that if I told you tomorrow you're not going to be here, and you can experience A, B, and C, what would you do? Based on that decision, I think you should do that. Because when you're older and you're retired, you may not have the energy to want to do anything but stay in the house anymore. And I say that because I'm a homebody. I don't want to leave the house. But I've had to force myself to go and start experiencing things so I can take the most out of this trip in life before I get to my departure. So this trip that I have going on, this adventure I have going on, I have to experience whatever it is that life is offering me, because when it hits that last moment of life, I don't know what's on the other side. Either there's life or the lights go out forever. In either scenario, if this is one portion of whatever that is, you want to make sure that you experience the most that you can within the mindset and the place that you're at in life.
And what keeps you at home sometimes? You said you're a homebody.
Yeah.
I see it where you like these cars and you like the larger than life and you seem like an extrovert. Why would you be a homebody?
Though the extrovert in me only comes out when I'm making movies. When I'm not making movies, I try to spend as much time as possible with my wife and my son. Because it goes back to the either there's life after death or there isn't. If there isn't, then that means that this moment in time that we have is all we'll ever have. If there's life after death, then that means I get to see them again. It's a 50-50. So when it comes to being a homebody, if I'm not making a movie, which is capturing a moment of time after life for them, then I like to spend that time with them. So that's why I'm a homebody. Yeah.